Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
We're going to watch this video, talk about this story, but I'd like you to think about who is ultimately responsible for this, for placing these female officers in harm's way. Someone needs to answer some questions. Someone ultimately, I believe, needs to take some responsibility because they've made these decisions, which has led us down a road, down a path that was foreseeable. So foreseeable. You knew this day was coming and it's going to get worse, but they are adamant this is how we have to have it. Let's check this video out.
Two New South Wales police officers are recovering after being seriously hurt while responding to a job in Sydney's West. One of the female constables knocked unconscious. Let's go live to today. Sydney reporter Sarah Stewart, who is at Mount Druitt Police Station for us. Sarah, how are the officers doing this morning?
Well, Lizzie, the good news this morning is that both female officers are okay. We're told that both were treated in hospital, but they've now been discharged into the care of their family members. So they are both at home this morning. But it is incredibly lucky considering one of them was found unresponsive on the road. Well, as to what happened to them, well, just after 6 o'clock last night, those two female constables aged just 22 and 23 were responding to a welfare check. There were reports that a young man was lying on the road at a street in Bidwill. No, those officers responded. They tried to talk to this man. It is alleged then he turned aggressive, kicking one of them in the stomach and then hitting her in the head, her falling to the ground and becoming unresponsive on the road. The second officer then tried to intervene and help her. It is alleged then she was also hit. She tried to use her capsicum spray, but incredibly lucky at that moment, two other officers arrived to help and they were able to subdue this man and take him into custody. Paramedics worked on the police officer, took her to hospital in a stable condition where she was treated for concussion. But as I said, she's now been released home and she is okay. The second officer was treated for scratches and bruising. The 19-year-old man was originally taken to the police station, then to hospital for assessment. But we are told he is expected to be charged later today, Lizzie.
Sarah Stewart there, thank you.
Okay, so that's the video. Let's go through this article. New South Wales Police Commissioner condemns sickening alleged attack on female police officers. Okay, so as we heard there in the video, the person who allegedly did the attack, he's 19-year-old male. 19. Okay, the two females, 22 and 23, I believe one of them was just a probationary officer. So, yep, probationary constable punched and kicked, unconscious, and her partner was also assaulted when the two police officers rushed to help a man who was lying on a road in Sydney's West. Other police rushed to their aid after the alleged assault in Bidwill around 6:30 p.m. They found the 23-year-old female police officer unresponsive. On Bunya Rd near Daniels Road, and her partner, a 22-year-old, also injured. Both officers had allegedly been punched. Two further police officers attended the scene, and the 19-year-old man was successfully arrested. So in the end, okay, if you don't include the lady, the police officer who was unconscious, it took three of them to subdue this one 19-year-old bloke. He was taken to Mount Druitt Police Station before being taken to Nepean Hospital for assessment while he was being moved. The man allegedly bit a third police officer on the arm. The officer, a male constable, was taken to Mount Druitt Hospital for treatment. Acting New South Wales Police Commissioner Pete Thurtle describes the attack as appalling, saying assaulting a police officer is completely not on. The women attended to the man who got to his feet and allegedly became aggressive in an unprovoked attack, police alleged. Incidents like these clearly demonstrate the bravery and courage of officers who are just doing their job to protect the community. Police officers put themselves, the usual stuff. Both officers who are attached to Mount Druitt Police Area Command remain in hospital. Upon his release from hospital on Saturday, the 19-year-old man, okay, the boy, who's 19-year-old, was taken to Mount Druitt Police Station where he was charged with 3 counts of assault. assault police officer in execution of duty, cause actual bodily harm, and 3 counts of hinder or resist police officer in the execution of duty. He was refused bail to appear before Parramatta local court today. This attack, despicable, disgusting, uncalled for, seemingly unprovoked. However, completely foreseeable. Completely foreseeable. I would plant this firmly at the feet of the senior management, the senior executive, because they are the idiots who decided many moons ago that we needed 50-50 ratio with male female, that we needed way more females in it. We need a lot more diversity. But the problem is you get all these females and then you end up with 2 females. One's 22 and 23. One's just a probationary. So that would have been she's just in her first year. She's still learning. If you're just probationary, realistically, in my mind, there's no way you should have, if it's female on probation and the other officer training is female, you need to have a third officer. You got to have a third officer. Now, we're in one station where I worked at, and there were more and more females starting to come on. And please, this is not I am not of the mind that females don't make good police officers. I'm not. So, it might come across as a little misogynistic, but that's not my thinking. Probably the best police officers I worked with were female officers. Unfortunately, the ones that put me in the most danger were also female officers, because when it came to physical incidents, they were not the really good ones, but there were some of the others that I worked with placed me in the most danger on physical when it came to physical altercations. So this is what's going to happen. When I worked in another station, they would not send out 2 female officers together on patrol or to go to a job. You would either have to have 3 officers or it would be a male and female. And even then you would look at disparity and things. But they wouldn't send it out. It wasn't, it was kind of like an unwritten policy with the, with the sergeants, with the duty sergeants and that. Unwritten policy, you wouldn't send 2 females out on a job to go answer a job unless there are other officers there at the scene. Okay, you wouldn't do it. But this is what happens when you've got senior executive that are insisting that we must have 50-50 ratio. This was completely foreseeable. A 23-year-old and a 22-year-old woman. Let's be brutally honest, okay? I have been checking out, because there's been so many female police officers coming through the area and the vicinity where I travel a lot in. I travel a lot around this whole North Queensland area. A lot of police officers. I'll go out of my way to look and see where the police officers are operating, what they're doing. And I noticed that the female officers, there's not one female officer that I've seen that I would say has any kind of physical presence about them. As in nothing that you could say, well, okay, I'd probably have to really watch myself around this lady because she looks like she could maybe handle herself. She's got a bit of size about her, looks built, whatever. There's nothing. Some of them are so tiny. I'm not the biggest bloke, but if you're looking at someone, I'm like just under 180 centimeters. If you're looking at a female who's flat out 160, 165 centimeters and maybe 45, 50 kilos, and let's face it, a 19-year-old bloke who's just pumped and aggro and, whatever, either he's on something or even just someone who's not on something, but, they're just roided out and going to the gym and that, they're going to knock out any 22 or 23-year-old female any day of the week. Any day of the week. This has been foreseeable, but senior executives insist in their own stupidity that we have to have a 50-50 ratio. And this is the problems that it causes. They have caused this issue, and we are going to get far more injuries and a lot more officers being placed in danger, being put in dangerous situations and being injured because because young blokes, okay, someone my age, a little bit older, a little bit younger, whatever, will maybe look at someone and think, okay, we'll respect the uniform. What I've noticed, in my opinion, is that a lot of younger guys, they just don't seem to care. They want to fight whoever. And we've been told in our society that men and women, they're all equal. We can all do the same thing. It surprises me how many blokes look at it as, well, if a woman wants to get mouthy, if a woman wants to do this, I'll just knock her out. I just sit there thinking, wow. In my day, I would have been thinking, you would never. I would never raise a hand. You would never do this, against another person, maybe a bloke, but never a female. And yet the attitude now that I've noticed where younger generations seem to be, it's perfectly fine. If a woman wants to fight, I'll fight her. So you got to look at this with all these, with the way drugs are running rampant through our society, the attitude towards women, the attitude towards police, this completely foreseeable. I would lay the blame positively at the feet of the senior executives who've decided that we need to have 50-50 ratio. That may sound a bit harsh, but this is going to continue on while you have this policy. And while they keep recruiting these tiny individuals, sorry, but if you're like lucky to be 100 and not even 170 centimeters and you're lucky to weigh 60 kilos, I'm sorry. My opinion is you shouldn't be a police officer. Anyway, let me know what you think. That's my opinion. Mightn't be popular, but I just think it's a dangerous job. You need to be smart. You need to be reasonably athletic. You need to be able to control yourself, handle yourself. You need to be able to think in tough situations. You need to be able to observe. Yeah. But I think the other thing too is here you had two very junior officers going out for a job. The female officers I worked with generally had a lot more experience and they knew exactly what to do. And they knew how to handle themselves a lot better. Two really junior officers, females out together. This is always going to happen. Anyway, this is my opinion. I'm Jay Fallon. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher.